Primer. I did pick this up along with the foundation, but I'm going to review that one in a separate video. The primer claims to be a skin perfecting primer which can be worn alone, under makeup, or on top to create a perfect matte complexion. Controls shine for up to 8 hours. Ultra lightweight formula minimizes the appearance of pores. I have really oily skin. It used to be that in the summer, it was when I was the oiliest, I would always have issues with figuring out what to wear because nothing would last. And in the winter, my skin was more towards the normal side. This year, for whatever reason, my skin it didn't transition. It has been oily all year, and it has not gotten less oily in the winter. I feel like it's just as oily as it was back in July. So I am always on the hunt for things that will keep me matte. This primer was $6.99 at my local Harmon's, and it had a $1 off coupon, so it came out to $5.99, which I thought was pretty decent for a drugstore primer. You do get an ounce, which again, it's a decent size for being a primer. Now, when I got it, I had like super high hopes for it because it was going to fill in your pores, and it was going to be something that was mattifying. And as I wore it, I've worn it about 10 times in the last 3 weeks. Just because I wanted to get a good feel for it. I did try it out with different foundations, BB creams. I wore it alone one day to see if it really kept me matte. The primer itself is white. It's really, really thick. It's a little bit like paste-like, and when you rub it in, it just feels thick. I don't know if when you were younger you ever put like Elmer's glue on your hands and you let it dry and it kind of felt like it was making your hands or your face feel really tight. Well, that's what it does. It makes your skin feel super tight while it's drying. Once it's dry, it's not too bad. But you do have to be careful with what foundations you choose to put over it. I found that super matte foundations didn't go over the primer that well, which surprised me because it was marketed with a really super matte foundation. But those two together did not work for me. I had the hardest time getting them to work. An hour and a half, 2 hours later, I was blotting, I was powdering my face again, and I was trying to work through it. I also had issues with the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation, which happens to be probably one of my top 2 foundations for me, and it definitely keeps me matte, so I was a little concerned. So I decided before returning it to the store and just giving up on it altogether that I would try it with my BB creams and some lighter weight foundations, something that's a little bit more luminous, or something that I feel is a little bit more satin. I tried it with the Wet n Wild Coverall. I tried it with my Pond's BB cream. Let's see, Revlon, the whipped foundation, because I don't feel that that's quite as matte as the Color Stay. I did try it with my MAC Studio Fix Fluid, and I tried it with the L'Oreal Lumi and the Covergirl or Stay Fabulous 3-in-1. These for me were the ones that worked the best with the primer. I'm not saying it's the only foundations that could work with it, but for me and my personal skin, those are the ones that I felt lasted the longest. I got about 3 hours of wear time with the Lumi before I started to notice like I was getting oily around my nose and a little bit on my forehead, and I get a good 6.5 hours before I start to get oily with Covergirl. And for me, I mean, it's not an absolute win, but for the price, and considering that I do own 2 foundations that I find work really well with it, I don't think I'm gonna be returning it. I think I'm just gonna figure out different combinations, maybe applying it, you know, I don't know, with another brush or a beauty blender is gonna make it easier. But I did apply it, maybe that'll make a difference. I apply my foundations with brushes like this one. This one's from Sedona Lace. It's the FB07, because I like a more full coverage, so maybe that's why it didn't work with the matte ones, because they're already full coverage. But for me, those 2 drugstore foundations worked really well with it. For the price, if you have oily skin, I would recommend at least checking it out. You can always return it if you're in the States. I would give it a shot. It's not, you know, obviously it's not the best primer on the market, but for a drugstore primer, it's pretty decent if you can find the foundations to work with it. Like I said, it was only, I think, $5.99 after the coupon. So I definitely, you know, give it a try. Like I said, I'm wearing it today with the Covergirl. I did blot a little bit around my nose because I wore my glasses all day, so I had a little bit of like oiliness and foundation, and then I powdered my nose. But I mean, it's held up really well. You can still see my blush, which I know I'm really heavy on the blush today, I'm sorry. But you can still see my blush, my contour, my highlight. It doesn't seem to be like breaking down anywhere, looking uneven or like catching. I would recommend, if you are somebody that doesn't have like really oily skin, your skin's more like normal or yeah, normal, I wouldn't recommend this at all if you were dry, because it's gonna make your face feel 10 times drier. But if you're normal, I would moisturize before I use that, because I do have a few like dry little spots around my chin, and it would cling to those. I just kind of like get caught on them. It wasn't as emollient if I happened to feel like, one day I did wear it all over my face. I wouldn't recommend that either. I would just put it where you need it. But if I have anything else or remember anything, I'll put it down in the description bar. I am going to also link my blog post for it. Any of that information will be in the down bar. Feel free to comment or leave me any questions that you have about it, and I will be more than happy to answer those for you. So, until next time, guys.